What's up and good morning, guys? Welcome back to another video. I don't know what's going on with the weather right now, but this is not what we pay all these taxes for. And on top of that, I really feel like I've been neglecting the BBB build here. She's become like a lot of a weekend ride in that, like, we've been going to a lot of shows and then she comes and sits all week and then I wash her again, take her to a show. Like, we need to do some stuff to you, girl. I'm sorry I'm neglecting you. And then for those of you wondering, where is the lift kit for my OBS over here? Well, I got good news. The good news is the lift kit has shown up, and hopefully if I can stop using this thing for work in the next couple of days, we can end up dropping it off and having the lift kit installed at Preston's. In terms of tires and wheels for this thing, I think I have my mind made up on what I want, and it's gonna be something a lot different than what I normally go with. I may have hinted to it in a previous video, and I don't want to blow the secret yet because, well, I should probably make sure that's exactly what we're gonna do before I tell you guys, but we'll get into that very shortly. So I know I've been posting a lot of job videos lately, or work videos lately, which a lot of you guys probably missed. And the reason I kind of hold off on posting too many of them is depending on what type of jobs we're doing. If we're doing a lot of like residential stuff inside the house, unless the house is like completely gutted, I don't like invading somebody's privacy with, you know, coming in with a bunch of cameras and stuff like that. Now, if we're doing exterior type work, depending on what it is, like, you know, I'm usually a lot more comfortable bringing a camera around and clearing it with the owner. But today we got a bunch of things going on. Dave is over at the warehouse working on the Sony project, getting a lot more of that plywood cut and put together for us. And while Dave is over at the warehouse, we're actually heading to meet up with my electrician. He's doing a well, basically somebody else came in to do some work and they were cheaper and then they screwed it up, so now he has to come in and fix it, which is something we see a lot in the industry that we're in. You know, a lot of times people just want to go with the cheapest bid that they can find, and then it usually ends up costing way more in the end by the time you have to pay somebody else to come back, rip out what was done, and then do it properly. But anyways, let's fire up the old 7.3 and head up there.
Arrived.
What's up, buddy? Oh, dude, you got me a brand new jacket now that it started raining? Look at that. We got the E35. Woo!
I said 32. What did we get?
That's a 5. Big equipment for the little dig here, buddy. I respect.
Big equipment for the little dig. Oh, man.
You guys may all remember my good buddy, my giant, one of the few guys that makes Chris look short. My good buddy Marcella Ella, aka Sparkleophagus, aka Aaron, aka
Aaron,
Stretch,
aka all over the place.
So what do we got going on today? Clearly we got to fix somebody else's screw up. It sounds like.
Oh my gosh, how did you know?
I don't know. I talked to you on the phone. I cheated.
Oh, cheater.
But tell them.
Well, we could get really specific and show them.
Let's go show them. Come on.
Okay. So what happens is you get these electrical contractors that tell homeowners things that aren't necessarily true so that they can get the job. And what happened was somebody told this homeowner that they were going to, everything was going to be okay if they just put the new panel right next to the old panel, and we'll get you some solar and we'll do like this for this great price. And I think Ryan talks about this where, you know, it's not all about price at the end of the day.
Yeah, Kyle, I just talked about it this morning before I even came over here.
See? And so at the end of the day, because new codes come alive all the time, this panel is too close to the gas meter. Well, also, if you notice above, there's nothing overhead. So this is an underground feed. This guy decided to move it. Unfortunately, they can't turn their solar system on.
So the gas electric company came out and said, no, right?
Exactly. So they're saying, wait, no, this never got approved, right? Like, you have a panel upgrade and you're in the wrong location. So this electrical contractor that gave the great price is now having this homeowner actually do this job twice.
And let me guess, he's nowhere to be found?
He's not really nowhere to be found, but he's definitely not a part of the project anymore, right? He's out there still doing his thing, but this homeowner and I met through a commercial job, and he asked me to come help him get it all figured out.
Nice.
So we're putting it on the other side of the home. Handhole is over here because underground feed. The wiring is too old, and they put in a just direct burial back then, and now we're gonna put the new panel on this wall, and then the white lines are proposed trenching area to get to SC Genie's handhole. They require 50 inches deep at their handhole.
You know, there's many ways to do this, but one thing I like to do is I like to be quick and I like to be efficient. So obviously, you know, the reason the Mini X is here is because you can sit here for, you know, 2 guys for a day and they can dig this at over 4 feet deep, or you just come in and you run through with the equipment and you just knock it out really quick. And I've got my great shovel man here, Marcelo Electric, who was just playing around on the excavator before I got here, calling me on saying, hey man, how do you operate this thing? So one of the biggest things that, you know, really got me into construction was like the first time I ever sat in a Bobcat, right? I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, and I got to sit in the Bobcat skid steer, and that was like the coolest thing in the world to me. And from then on out, I wanted to operate every piece of equipment, tractor, excavator, whatever it may be that I could get my hands on. And, you know, at like 7 years old, I started running mini excavators, and that was like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing in the freaking world. I love it. And to me, it's like a fundamental skill, and it's something that's always going to be necessary, and it's something that really sets people apart. You could either, you know, not opt to learn to use that, and, you know, we don't use these every day. But to have that skill set, even if you work for another company, you know, say they need somebody to operate a forklift, say they need somebody to run a skid steer just for a day or whatever it may be, if you're that guy, you're valuable. No offense to my good buddy Marcel Electric, but qualified, amazing electrician. Been doing it for many years, but
no thanks.
yeah, the excavator is not, it's not really in his wheelhouse. Now, mind you, given enough practice, anybody can figure it out. It's not that hard. But a lot of people are intimidated to jump on an excavator and do any kind of digging, especially because in here there's sprinkler lines, there's possibly, other stuff in here.
Wiring,
we don't want to rip up the landscape wiring, and then we got to obviously come across the concrete, which we've already got permission to kind of really just get across it. However, we got to get across it. But kind of what I'm trying to get at is like learn every piece of equipment that you can, because you will be valuable, and you're going to be more valuable than the guy next to you that doesn't. Look at the guy at Home Depot that knows how to operate the forklift versus the guy that doesn't. Like, chances are he's going to have an easier day running around on that forklift than the guy that is like stocking shelves all day.
Fetching carts.
Fetching carts.
That's your boy.
So first things first, we're going to poke around a little bit right here because we need to kind of undermine this wall to get to, what do we call that? Handhole?
Yeah.
Handhole. I'm learning big terms here. We got to get to the handhole, so we're gonna just poke around right here. Dig alerts already come out and marked all their stuff, so we know we're pretty safe right here, but you can never be too safe. So anytime you're around any type of electrical, go slow, feel it out, make sure there's nothing there. So we've got the first portion of the dig done, and that is basically the reason this trench is so big and wide, is because you got to get a 8-foot tall electrician down in there, because he's going to have to tunnel essentially from this side underneath this wall, and you can see we've got a pretty decent footing in the way to connect the power to the gas and electric's box right there. So from here we're going to trench across, and obviously you can see we've got the pathway walking up to the front door in the way. Now, my good buddy and electrician does not have a concrete saw on him, and they've kind of already, like I said, gave us permission to really tear up this walkway, and I'm trying to do my best to not tear up the grass, but it just rained on my way here, so, even though we get permission to, do what we have to do, and people don't realize how much dirt comes out of trenching in your front yard, I still like to try and keep it as clean as possible. Now, that being said, you can see we got a joint right there when they poured the concrete, and there's another joint just underneath the edge of this pile right here. Now, hoping that whenever this was poured back in the day, and seeing that it is salt finish, I'm going to guess it was poured a decent amount of time ago. And for those of you wondering what salt finish is, if you see all the holes in the concrete, basically what they do is they pour the concrete and then they'll throw rock salt out over on top of it, and the rock salt basically lays into the concrete, and then you come back later and you wash it away and you dissolve the rock salt, which leaves a bunch of these holes in here. Now weirdly, this was a a big finish at the time. I can't stand it because, as you can see, all it does is trap dirt. It's never been my favorite finish. But what I'm going to try and do, and like I said, assuming and hoping they didn't put any rebar in here, I'm going to see if I could pick up just this one square right here with the excavator and get it out of our way, and then we'll be able to put it back when we're done. I'm not real confident that's going to happen on account of those joints aren't cut very deep, so we'll see. All right, so scratch that plan. I just remembered I've got a diamond blade and a grinder in the truck. I'm gonna cut the joints all the way through and then remove this whole piece, hopefully. All right, so I've gone ahead and chased both of these joints. Now, the reason this didn't work the first time like it should have is I should have looked at these joints. They were clearly cut in last second when they poured this concrete, and they're like not even an 1/8 inch down. So, and the reason I'm even going to the effort of pulling out this entire piece versus just, you know, what most utility companies would probably do and cut at the whatever angle the conduit's going through, 1 foot wide trench, is because either you cut a 1 foot wide trench and you're gonna have to patch it anyways, or we pull out this entire piece if it works, and then you'll be able to put this piece back in, give or take. It may or may not be perfect, but at least it'll hold you over until you decide to redo your complete walkway, versus, you know, you'd pretty much have to redo the walkway anyway. If you had a diagonal trench running through here, you could patch it, but it would end up looking like crap. So in order to avoid having to tunnel underneath any more of this walkway, really the trench should be about that angle, but I don't want to have to take out a whole nother piece of walkway. So I'm just gonna kick it this way, and then we're gonna 22-degree coupling it over to the house over there. Now, here's something I want you to notice. Obviously, I'm in the trench right now. Oh, I'm stuck on a piece of PVC. All right, check this out. So my good buddy Marcelo over here, he's got a couple of employees. Obviously, it's his company, he owns it. But one thing you should notice, he ain't too good to get in there, get down, and start tunneling under. I mean, it's probably the least fun he's gonna have today, but he's not afraid to do it. And that's what it takes to be a good boss, a good business owner, whatever. You know, you gotta be willing to, don't ask guys to do things you ain't willing to do. And I know this man has gone in, I mean, you see the size of him. This guy will jump headfirst into some of the smallest attics or crawl spaces. He don't complain, you just gotta get it done, right buddy?
Yes, that is the way to do it, man.
There you go.
Build rapport with the people, and then don't be afraid to put on the bag.
Well, remember when I told you guys you can't always trust what Dig Alert says? The water line is not marked right here, nor should it be about 3 inches deep, but, well, we were having a great day, and then we hit the water main. Luckily, I had the bucket to throw over top of the pipe to really keep it from like shooting through that window, which is where I wanted to go before I got it shut off, but now we need to get this fixed because the homeowner is not going to want to be without water for very long. But hey, this is kind of what I like about construction. It's like issues are going to come up, and you've got seconds to think and seconds to really come up with a game plan, and then you just got to jump and act. You know, Marcelo's on the phone right now. Make sure we get a plumber out here, get that bad boy all fixed back up, and then we're going to keep chugging along. So believe it or not, I mean, well, I don't think it really matters to you, but this is the first live water line. The first live water line I've ever hit. Sprinklers, you know, depending on where you're at, they're given. Typically, they don't get marked. And if you're running a big trench through your yard, you know, you kind of have to get rid of the sprinklers or get them out of the way. But we're getting it all mucked out. We've got some fittings and some pipe on the way.
Yeah.
Get it doctored up.
some Coca-Cola.
And some Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola is on its way.
We'll pour a little bit out for Dave. You know, Dave loves the Coca-Cola. I will say, this last like 6-foot section has been an absolute minefield of like random pipes, old wiring, drains coming from the backyard, and then most importantly, the main coming into the house. Oh yeah. But we'll get it, buddy. Apparently we found like the super highway of everything on this property. I mean, you can see him digging up. I don't even know why that line is buried.
Some pecks.
Yeah, they got some blue pecks buried right there, but it's tying into some PVC back here. We got another PVC going that way, another one going that way. We got 3 coming off over there. Now, mind you, look how deep that one is right there. It's about
2.
That's a deep one. What's the one right there closest to your hand? Maybe
an inch. We'll give them a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, maybe 3. Yeah, that's 3/4 of an inch buried at best. None of this stuff was deep, but you know, it's just part of the gig. You don't know until you start opening up holes. And then over here, we've got a random 1.5-inch line. We've got some old buried wire. There's a 3-inch backyard drain that runs through here.
Backyard drain.
It's
sorry, Ryan.
Aaron's just stacking some stuff on my boots here.
Hey, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, you know, this would probably ruin most people's day, but you know, you could either sit here, be grumpy about it, and like yelling at each other, and then have to fix it, or you could sit here. It is what it is. Let's just handle it. We can still joke around and be happy. And then in the end, you're still going to fix it. So, you know, you kind of get to pick your mood. And, well, luckily me and Aaron have chose to be still the cheerful guys that we are, and let's just get it fixed.
Ryan, is your glass half full?
Sometimes. Well, it will be if we can get that water line.
You just got to capture that.
Yeah, capture that water that's coming out of there. So remember this morning when I talked about, like, I didn't want to drive on the grass too much. I wanted to make sure we kept the grass nice and clean. Well, you can't win them all, you know? Part of me was like, you know what, maybe this video is just never gonna see the light of day, but I like to show you guys the real. Like, not every day goes perfect. Sometimes it's just a complete catastrophe on the last, you know, 6 foot of dig, which today happened to be. But this is just, it's real life. This is what happens. We've got all of our pipes exposed. Aaron's working on cleaning them, cutting off all the broken pieces. We've got our replacements hopefully on the way if Phil ever shows up.
Gosh, Phil.
Dang it, Phil. Man, is it good to see you, Phil?
How you doing?
Well, you know, I figured I'd come break some pipes today. You?
Oh, you know, I was hoping to see somebody breaking some pipes today.
Our reinforcements have shown up. Look at that. That is a bag of fittings right there if I've ever seen one, Aaron. Oh, man, victory is in sight, buddy. Victory is in sight.
Dun, 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 dun.
So we're jumping in right now to the painstaking process of trying to figure out what pipes went to where and making sure everything gets hooked back up. That way when they fire up different zones of the sprinkler system, weird stuff doesn't happen. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys. I'm sure you don't want to watch us sit here and figure out this mess because it's that's kind of what it is. But hey, it is what it is. Like I said earlier, you know, you could either get all butthurt about it and complain the whole time, or just like, hey, we sack up and we get it done and we get it fixed. That way the homeowner isn't without water. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. If you have not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now, that way you do not miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, aka a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforitapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, you got to be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.